I knew there was something different at a very young age. At about 8 or 9 years old, I knew that something was different. I couldn't quite put my finger on it.
All through college, I dated men. Thought that was just all right. It wasn't great, and I didn't really know where that was leading, but I did what I thought that I needed to do.
As in elementary school, I kept dreaming about this girl. Her name's Kelsey Thompson, and I could not figure out why.
I was just as at home with Legos and Hot Wheels as I was with party kitchens and easy bake ovens.
I would just always wear boxer briefs and dress like a boy.
I cut off all my hair, went to school. Everyone thought I was some dude, some new kid.
If you talk to my mom, she would probably tell you in childhood there were signs. I would prance around in a red polka dot dress. I would dance around my house. My favorite singer was Madonna.
I had moved to a new school and cut my hair really short, so I looked like a tomboy, like a boy. And in fact, some of my new teachers actually misgendered me.
I grew up in a very, very conservative family. We didn't talk about feelings or emotions. We kind of repressed them all, and that's kind of how I grew up. So in my own mind, I denied it for a very long time.
It was kind of difficult to say me in front of one side of my family versus my mom, where I felt completely comfortable being who I was.
I grew up in Flagstaff, Arizona, in a very strict household. Very religious, very faith-based. That was very interesting.
My mother is actually a lesbian, and I found that out when I was about 11 years old, that she left my father for another woman and then explained to my brother and I what being a lesbian was and what that meant for our family moving forward.
Some of the meaner kids in school would kind of shove me up against lockers or trip me in the hall and say things like faggot as they would walk by.
I didn't know what that term meant. And I went home and asked my parents, and they described what it was. And as they were describing it as a bad thing, in my mind I was thinking, they're describing who I feel like I am.
I actually got made fun of a lot and called a lot of names in 7th grade, and people would say, oh, you're a lesbian and stuff like that, and I was like, no, I'm not, because I wasn't comfortable with coming out yet.
I had fellow students being pulled from my school because their parents didn't want them going to school with a gay kid.
Me telling my parents was the hugest challenge I ever faced, even to this day.
I grabbed a sharp object and I started cutting myself. My mom came in, she busted down the door, and she asked me why are you acting this way? And I told her I was gay. My mom took it okay, she was very supportive, but she told my dad. My dad did not take it well and kicked me out of the house when I was 16.
I went right back in for about a year, and that was probably the hardest year of my life. That was harder than coming out.
There was one friend that I was really close to at the time, and when I came out, she said, I can't be friends with you. I can't. My family's not okay with it. I'm not okay with it. To lose a friend over it, that was tough, and I kind of shut in for a period of time. But shortly after that, I met my very best friend, Nick. Nick was straight, and as straight could be. But Nick was probably one of the first people in all of my life that showed me authentic love and showed me what it meant to love unconditionally and showed me that it was okay to be myself. And Nick passed about 11 years ago now. One of the ways that I coped with that was to share his unconditional love for people and to put my authentic self out there no matter what it was, because the right people would love me that I needed to love me, and I would also be able to love wholeheartedly because of that friendship that I shared with him.
I had a contentious relationship with my dad growing up, and actually now we have the best relationship we've ever had because we've been able to bond over so many more things now that I'm more honest and open with him about who I am.
I just stuck on the right path, and I found my support in my friends, or if I needed to, my teachers would even be there for me, and that's what drove me to get back into a house with my mom and, live to where I needed to be as a kid.
Being part of the community, it feels like being part of a family. Being part of a family that you can always reach out to when you need help or when you need just a friend.
Maybe you know that you disappointed your family, and that's really hard, but you meet other people who accept you for just being you, and you realize that it's okay.
If you can get past those things that you concoct in your head, and you can see past that and actually just be brave enough to move forward and admit to yourself and admit to your friends, you'll be a whole lot happier.
You want to be around people who support you, who love you, who want the best for you.
Go out there with courage and just don't be scared, because there's so many people out there that will embrace you for who you are and will love you for who you are.
One of the biggest reasons that people say that why maybe they're intolerant or they don't support us is because they simply say they don't know any LGBT people.
Trust yourself and trust your gut and trust your instinct.
We are not always born into the family we're supposed to have. Sometimes we learn who our real family is as we grow up, as we develop relationships, friendships, people that are supposed to be a part of our life.
You gotta do it. That's what's gonna make you happy in the end. And if someone doesn't support that, you just gotta work super hard and just keep going.
Dig deep in yourself and know, aside from the statement that it gets better, just know in your heart that it gets better, but you have to carve out the path for yourself.
We're a community that accepts anyone and everyone. There's no judgment, there's no finger pointing. It's pure love. And that's what makes the world go round.